Hey everyone! Hi. I am going to be reading January 13th entry from Courage to Change, Hope for Today, and One Day at a Time in Al-Anon. January 13th entry is on page 13. If you've been listening, you noticed that the day when the year starts, at least on the first month, it's going to be on the exact same page number. So that's pretty convenient. So feel free to follow along. I'm going to be reading from Courage Change first, and then One Day at a Time, and then Hope for Today. Page 13 on all three books. Here goes. Al-Anon gives me a great spiritual freedom because it encourages me to find a personal understanding of God and to allow others the same freedom. Until I could think of God in terms that were meaningful to me, I was not able to truly turn my life over to a higher power. My concept of God evolves. It changes and grows as I continue to change and grow. How wonderful it is, for I now sense a higher power that is as alive as I am. Never in my life did I dream of finding such a source of serenity, courage, and wisdom. There is a sense of unique purpose to my journey through life. I am the only one who can live it, and I need the help of the God of my understanding in order to live it fully. Grounded in faith, I can hold tight to my course and meet the future with confidence. Today's reminder: once upon a time, I was afraid to live life for myself. This was because I did not know how to do it and thought that there was no one to show me. Now I have a resource deep within me to guide me along life's many roads. I am not alone on my journey. In the midst of winter, I finally learned that there was in me an invincible summer. That quote is from Albert Camus. Wow. What stood out for me is the God of my understanding. My concept of God evolves. It changes and grows as I continue to change and grow. I like that part where it says, encourage me to find Al-Anon gives me spiritual freedom because it encourages me to find a personal understanding of God and to allow others that same freedom. Sometimes I forget that second part. I often don't allow others to have that same freedom. But this really reminds me that until I could think of God in terms that were meaningful to myself, then I'm not able to truly turn my life over to a higher power. And to let go and let God and let other people live their own lives with their own version of their God. It's so hard, especially because I want to change, other people instead of changing myself. And so this is really deep and very meaningful to me. All right, and that is the reading from Courage to Change. Moving over to One Day at a Time in Al-Anon, page 13, January 13. When will I realize that I need not permit the alcoholic's behavior to confuse my life and destroy my peace of mind? When will I learn that there is no compulsion in law or ethics that forces me to accept humiliation, uncertainty, and despair? Have I perhaps accepted it because I have a subconscious desire for martyrdom? Do I secretly relish feeling sorry for myself and want sympathy from others? Today's reminder: I have a right to free myself from any situation that interferes with my having a decent life and pleasant experiences. Every human being is entitled to live without fear, uncertainty, discomfort. I should take a firm stand and hold fast to whatever decision I make, to help not only myself and my family, but the suffering alcoholic as well. Constant wavering can only hinder me from breaking out of my present thinking patterns. Quote, God, guide me to make the right decision and give me the fortitude to cling to it against all pressures and persuasions. Wow. I think this is reading about peace and detaching with love, and also self-worth and self-love and self-esteem, and healthy boundaries. Definitely about enforcing healthy boundaries. It says here, when will I realize that I need not permit the alcoholic's behavior to confuse my life and destroy my peace of mind? When will I learn that there is no compulsion in law or ethics that forces me to accept humiliation, uncertainty, and despair? Do I have a subconscious desire for martyrdom? Every human being is entitled to live without fear, without uncertainty, without discomfort. I should take a firm stand and hold fast to whatever decision I make, to help not only myself and my family, but the suffering alcoholic as well. I like this prayer here, this quote, God, guide me to make the right decision and give me the fortitude to cling to it against all pressures and persuasions. And so, if I can just share here what my sponsor had told me in the past about choices and decision making and about not making any hasty decisions, she said that if I often feel anxiety, or if I feel nervous, or I feel like I need to make this decision right away, if I have I'm feeling anxious, she tells me if those feelings are what's driving me to decide, then I need to hold fast and not make that decision right away. I don't have to make a decision right away and not make that choice right away, because I definitely don't want to make something that will result in regret. She says that often the right decisions come with peace and with just like a pulling forth, like I would know if it's the right decision. So in the past, I've really been reckless with my choices and decisions. And I believe that my higher power turns negative into positive, turns dark into light for his own purposes, for her or his own purposes. And in the past, I've definitely made some hasty decisions that it probably would have served me better if I didn't make them. And so I'm definitely going to try to be more patient and have that peace of mind and pray constantly for the right choice and right decision in every single circumstance. And pay attention to my feelings and to my body, where the tension is at, and pray and be patient. And in the stillness, I will know. Because if I'm always anxious, or if I'm wanting to make it right now, do I really need to make this decision right now? So, yeah. And if I do make a decision, I have to stick to it and be firm and have some self-esteem about it, some self-worth, and some self-confidence. So yeah, moving on to the next reading, Hope for Today, page 13, January 13. At first, I really disliked it when my home group took a group inventory. I sat, gritting my teeth and feeling impatient to get back to the real meeting. I figured at least if I didn't participate, the inventory would end that much faster. But since I wanted to get better, I examined my behavior and found the pattern. Not only did I refuse to take part in the group inventories, I barely participated in the group at all. I just kept to myself, isolated even when surrounded by fellow members. When I started feeling victimized by the group's discussions, I looked into my pattern more deeply. My efforts revealed the memory of how I felt as a teenager growing up in an alcoholic home, ignored, invisible, and insignificant. Decisions were often made without taking my thoughts and feelings into account. Eventually, I chose not to bother making myself heard. I told myself I didn't matter. It was a real shock to realize I was acting the same in my Al-Anon groups. When I allowed the group to make decisions without my input, I chose once more not to speak up. I perpetrated the victim role that had plagued me. I finally decided it was better to risk sharing than to become resentful. As I started participating in group matters, I noticed fellow members listening to what I had to say. They spoke with me after meetings to express gratitude for sharing what had also been on their minds. Slowly, my self-esteem increased. I do matter, but I had to take the risk to find that out. Thought for the day. The answer my group is seeking just might come from the higher power through my voice. Quote, the comfortable feeling that we are all equals encourages us to take an active part in the work of our fellowship. That quote is from Al-Anon's 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 95. All right. So, excuse me. This reading for me, I think, is about digging deep and peeling the onions of recovery and, you know, having better self-worth. And there are multiple reasons why people have, people don't feel noticed and ignored, invisible, and insignificant. And there are different feelings that come up that go with that. And some people and some end up in addiction. And I sometimes end up in my head overthinking everything. And so that is a reading from all 3 books. If you're still listening, thank you so much for staying with me here and recovering with me. Please hit subscribe. Again, Al-Anon is an anonymous organization. If you or your loved one struggled or struggling with alcoholism or someone you know, please go to an Al-Anon meeting, or any 12-step meeting is very helpful. There's always hope at the end of the tunnel, no matter what your issue is. And get a sponsor. And if you can't go to any meetings, there are phone meetings. If you can Google phone meetings, 12-step meetings, you'll find a whole bunch, nationally and internationally. Also, there are multiple literature available for order on the Al-Anon website. Whatever your addiction is, it might be best to work with that recovery. And thank you again. See you next time. God bless. Bye.